Hello and welcome to Angel's Corner. It's the first video of the year, and I wanted to talk about something that's important to me and something that means a lot to me. So, today we're going to talk about how people are not their potential, they're the fruit that they bear. Okay, so we're going to use Jesus as an example because that's our prime example always. But we know how much Jesus loves us by an action that he did. We know how much he loves us because he died for us on the cross. Not because he had the potential to love us, not because he had the potential to die for us on the cross. No, he actually did it because love is an action. Even in First Corinthians, the biblical description of love is patient, love is kind, all of that is an action. Being kind is an action. Being patient is an action. Keeping no records of wrong, that is an action. So we are told to love in an action, and we are shown the highest love ever by an action, right? And First John, we it says we know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we know what real love is because an action that he did, not because something he said he was going to do, but by something that he actually went out and did, right? And then we're told about the fruits of the spirit, and we're told how we can identify a tree by its fruit. In this analogy, we are the tree, and the fruit that we bear is our actions. And that can also be seen in Galatians. In the book of Galatians, we're told about the fruits of the spirit, things like love, peace, forbearance, gentleness, self-control. All of that is an action, right? So we are going to be identified by our actions, not by the potential that we have. Because a lot of times I feel like we get caught up as humans in identifying people by their potential and seeing them solely as their potential and not by their actions. Don't get me wrong, potential can be a beautiful thing, but that's not all that people are. We are what we do. Our actions come from the treasury of our heart. In Luke chapter 7, oh, if I'm looking down, guys, because this is where my Bible is, but in Luke chapter 7, verse 43, a good tree can't produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. Okay, in Luke 7, it talks about how we identified by our fruit, right? And then it talks about how basically the fruit that we bear comes from the treasury of our heart. So good things come from the treasury of a good heart, and bad things come from the treasury of a bad heart. So what we do comes from our heart, our actions come from our heart. So how can we look at people as their potential when their actions come from their heart? If I'm looking at a person, I'm solely seeing what they could be, what I want them to be. I'm projecting my desires onto them when they are explicitly showing me who they are and what's in their heart. Your actions show what's in your heart. So why would I look at what I think you could be, what I want you to be, and I'm projecting my thoughts onto you when you're showing me exactly who you are? Because people show who they are by the fruit that they bear. And it says a good tree cannot produce bad fruit. So if you're a good person, how are you producing the worst fruit of all time? Deception is a good tactic from the enemy that it's used a lot, but sometimes we deceive ourselves. We deceive ourselves by only looking at people as their potential and as what we want them to be, instead of looking at them from the standpoint of what God showed them to be, because God will reveal someone's character, especially if you pray for it, especially if you ask God to reveal someone's character. You can even ask God to reveal your own character and you will be seen. The treasure of your heart will be seen. So if you're praying for the treasury of somebody's heart to be revealed and it's revealed and you don't like it and you're trying to deceive yourself into thinking, oh, they could do so much better, they could be this, they could be that, that is not good. And don't get me wrong, people are subject to change, but people are going to act from their heart. People are going to be who they are going to be. So why would you try to sit there and change it when you're explicitly shown and we're explicitly told that the way people feel about us is expressed in an action? Love isn't expressed in an action. Jesus died for us to show us how much he loved us. He didn't just say how much he loved us. He didn't just walk around and be like, oh, I might die for you because I love you. No, he didn't. There was no might. There was no hesitance because it's all in action. So he did what was in the treasury of his heart. The treasury of his heart was love, so he acted upon love. If the treasury of somebody's heart is love, they're going to act with love. And that's honestly our highest command. And God's love lives within us. So if you don't have God's love in you and you're just acting out of the treasury of a bad heart, then I don't know what to tell you. We cannot have deception rule over our lives. Because as I was saying earlier, we can deceive ourselves by projecting our own desires, projecting our own wants onto somebody, and having them be sort of a shell of what we want when in reality, people are themselves. I can't force anyone to be what I want them to be. And if I do that, I'm only deceiving myself because God made us all unique. God made us all who we're meant to be. So if I'm projecting my desires on who I want you to be, I'm projecting the potential that I see in you onto you. I'm only hurting myself because you are your own person. You're going to produce your own fruit. And God has already shown me who you are by your actions because your actions come from the treasure of your heart. I already know your heart by the way that you act. So why would I sit there and project myself onto you? I just feel like that's not going to get you anywhere, right? But it's something that we're all guilty of, I'm going to say, because I feel like it's something that we all do. We see people as what they could be instead of not who they are. So I just want to talk about this because I feel like that's like a hard lesson that I had to learn, that people are going to be who they're going to be, and that I can't change that because that's just the fruit that they bear, and that's just who they are. And I don't know if this video resonated with anybody. I hope that it did. But it's just something that I wanted to talk about, especially for the new year coming up, because I feel like a lot of a deception of yourself has been kind of big last year, and I wanted to walk into the new year with just laying down the law. Um, Kind of for myself actually, that people treat you the way that they feel about you. People treat you the way that their heart feels about you, and the actions come from your heart. So that's just something that I wanted to touch on. And I think I'm done. I hope you guys like this video. Stay blessed.